Department Media. This is Ahmad in DRC. We're talking to Houston Sabercats captain Matt Trouville.
That's the one.
Matt Trouville. Okay, so not quite the result that we would have wanted in our soft opening, but beautiful weather, beautiful stadium. What were your thoughts on the game tonight?
I think first things first. So we've got to talk about the stadium, right? Because the planning that's gone into that for almost 2 years now, and to get it ready with all the rain delays and everything is an incredible feat by our ownership group and our construction group and all that. So I just want to say really quickly, a fantastic job to them to actually get it to where it was. The surf was a little bit iffy, of course, but that's gonna heal in time. So that part of today was fantastic. To actually run out there was something special, and it was something that we'll never forget as a playing group. Now then, the other part of it is the part I'd like to forget real quick is the result. You know, I just think we played in a lot of parts very soft. You know, there wasn't a lot of heart in some of those moments. And you can't, I got a team against Seattle who won the tournament last year.
Very good.
You can't switch off for 2 minutes here, 5 minutes there, because they end up under the post. So I think our mental, we switched off mentally, just a few too many moments, and yeah, that cost us big. So it's hard once you get behind with a team like that, it's hard to chase them down because they just keep on rolling, you know. So that was the disappointing part of the day.
Okay. Well, just thinking back on the 2 years with the team or with the league and everything, how have you seen it grown? How was it when it first started here for the Sabercats, and then how do you foresee it going? I know that you have nothing but the brightest ideas, but how do you see it going for us here?
So what compared to what? Let's just talk about the playing group first. What we had last year compared to this year, it is night and day. We have an exceptional squad of players here, and we're just trying to figure out how to get them to gel and all that sort of stuff. But it takes a bit of time. So I think in a year, 2 years, 3 years, that's when you're going to start to see Houston be exactly, where we would like it to be now. You know what I mean? So there is a very good group here, and we've got a good coaching staff. We've got everything in place now. We've got our own stadium, facility. So it's just going to take a bit of time to get everyone to gel together, and then I think you're going to see some results that are more positive. Let's say that for sure.
Okay, well, I noticed an accent. West Texas?
Galveston.
Gotcha.
That's what I would have guessed.
Okay, so where do you hail from?
Sydney, Australia.
Sydney, Australia. Okay, all right. So you're in a hotbed of this game, right? That's where you come from. So how long have you been in the United States?
I've been here 8 years.
8 years.
Yeah, I came for a holiday and never left.
Right, and that's a lot of times what happens. We have a lot of Aussies here nowadays. Is there a big community that you've noticed in the city around here?
A rugby community?
Rugby community as well as Australian community.
Oh, yeah. So the rugby community, like Houston alone, the greater Houston area, has 50 different rugby teams, starting from youth all the way through to the men's and women's, and now us being in town as well. So there's over 50 teams. That's a lot of people playing rugby, which is fantastic. Our plan from the Sabercats point of view is to help grow that. So we're going into schools. We're trying to do youth camps and development camps for everyone to experience the game, because a lot of people don't know it. Even though we get good numbers to our games, and like the people that do know it, they love it, right? So we're trying to expose it to everyone else, because once they see it, they're going to fall in love with it. So there's a huge community within the rugby world, and then the expats that all come over here. It's all the oil and gas, right? Because Australia has a huge mining industry, so there's a lot of turnover and crossover. So we go to the Australia Day events and all that sort of stuff. So it's good to see some Aussies and be able to get some meat pies here and some Aussie beers. It's always a good time to catch up with everyone.
Okay, so tell me some good Aussie beers, because all we know is Foster's.
So let me
tell me some
not even a good one, right?
So I don't know what language we can use on this
it's
show.
internet radio.
Okay.
Good.
So Foster's tastes like cat piss. Let's just be honest, okay?
That's what I heard as well.
It's horrific, right? No Australians drink it.
Okay.
They just have like the greatest marketing team in the world, and everyone thinks we drink it, right? So that's just not true.
Not there right now.
We have 100 different types of beer. So if you compare it to it's more like a lighter beer because of our weather. We're all it's very much on boats. We're on the ocean. We want something more refreshing than some of that hard IPA stuff that tastes like an ashtray. So there's a lot of good Australian beers. There's not one or that I want to say that's the best or the other, because we just have a huge range, and of course everyone in Australia loves beer, so there's a lot of different types. You know what I mean? So, but definitely no Fosters.
Okay, so I have a little bit of a tactical question, but
Okay.
it's very general
Alright.
because our audience is new to the game.
Okay.
So if you can just give us a rundown of what position you play and what that position's responsibilities are.
Okay, so I play in what's called the second row, which is number 4 or number 5 on the team. And their job is to do the dirty hard work that you don't necessarily see on TV and things like that. We have to punch out numbers, right? So it's a cross between, I would say, a linebacker and a tight end. You know what I mean? So you do a lot of defense and you do a lot of like the hitting rucks and tackling and all that sort of stuff. So that's more of the position, more of the roles that my position holds. But if you don't do those things, then our faster guys and our more creative guys can't get into space and score tries. You know, so a bit of a badge of honour between our group who's in the second row and the back rows, similar players who get to do all that work. So.
All right, D'Arcy?
So, coming from Australia, you started playing rugby at what age? I would assume very early.
I was 5 years old. Yeah.
5 years old,
Yeah.
and been playing. Did you play any other sports?
Yeah, I mean anything to get me out of class. I mean, I was playing cricket, which is our version of baseball. It's just as boring. I played AFL, soccer. I mean I was doing track, swimming. I mean I wasn't good at any of them, but I was doing it just to get out of class. Rugby's always been my favourite sport, but yeah, I mean so in Australia too, it's a very active culture. So everyone generally plays everything.
I assume the competition is pretty tough there as well, right?
Yeah, you could say that. Yeah, so just like Pee Wee football, right? You guys grow up playing
Right.
when you're very young. Your knowledge of the game is very extensive when you get to an older age. Just like rugby in Australia, England, New Zealand. Right. When you're playing at 5 years old, you learn a lot. Whereas in America, it's a much younger sport. It hasn't been here for as long. So you get guys in high school or college who start. There's a learning curve, a difference. You know what I mean? But I will say, my 8 years here, that gap is closing quickly because you got a lot of young kids playing now. We have a good youth program here with our summer camps and everything that we do, and all over the country. There's generally a lot of youth players now, and the numbers are increasing. It's actually the fastest growing team sport in America.
Okay.
Okay, so there's some fun facts.
There it is.
Yeah, so to see that growth and to watch that gap close is very exciting. Very exciting for the future of American rugby.
So one more question. We asked another player this as well. The sportsmanship in the game kind of stands out to me. Being born and raised here in America, competition is heavy. To be able to see you all have that same level of competition, but yet come here and be able to fellowship, that's very rare. How do you feel about that? How do you think it got started? Is it ingrained in you at a young age, and how does that?
Yeah, I mean that's the reason I play. I think the World Rugby has a set of values that they want everyone to play by. So you grow up learning that as a little kid. You learn all about these values, and they're always a part of the game, and they're always a part of what we're learning and how we're learning too. So, and then there's a common, a cliche you could say. We smash each other on the field, but then we buy each other a beer afterwards. You know what I mean? So that just basically means there's a lot of respect because I think we understand what we're all putting our bodies through, the work we're doing off the field, and sort of how much of a grind this sport is. So if you can't respect your opposition, that's not the way to be. It's a lot of people say it's a gentleman's sport played by hooligans.
So, yes, I've heard that.
Great way to put it.
One more question from me, Skipper,
Okay.
and I'll let you get back to mingling and everything, and get back to what you got to do. Now, backstory: years ago, I worked with a Scottish guy.
Okay.
Right? He was a big rugby fan.
Okay.
I had watched ESPN2 the night before.
Yeah.
I was telling him about a rugby match that I had watched, and he stopped me right there. He then explained to me I was not watching rugby. That was league.
Rugby league. Okay.
Okay. So can you explain to our people the difference between rugby union, which is the code that you guys play, and rugby league, and how that rivalry kind of,
So in Australia, particularly, I don't know about the other parts of the world, rugby union, commonly referred to as rugby, is a white collar sport, and rugby league is a blue collar sport. Okay, so you've got a different crowd watching the sports, right? So, but as a kid, you don't care about that. You just want to play, right? So, I only learnt that as I became an adult. So, rugby league is a version of rugby that has 6 downs, then you have to kick the ball, just like football. A lot more one-on-one tackling. There's a lot of, I don't know, it would actually be a sport that would be easier to comprehend for an American audience because of the downs and basically you're punting on the 6th instead of the 4th, you know what I mean? So there's that part of it, and then rugby union is a more flowing game. It's more, it's like soccer or ice hockey where it continues. Yeah, there's no rules about when you have to give the ball back, all that sort of stuff. So it's a lot more open. There's a lot more field position battle in rugby. But they're so similar, it would be hard for you to determine which is which, right? And then the other part of it is in rugby league, they don't have rucks when they get tackled. So they get tackled, they stand up, and they play the ball, and then we go again. Just like a first down, second down, third down in football, whereas rugby, you go to the ground and there's a competition over the ball, and you keep playing. It's continuous. You know, they're the main differences, but I could see why you would get confused. It's the same game, but just different rules, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being with us,
Thank you
Skipper.
very much.
One more thing. On
the opening.
You can tell he's been at H-Town. Give my man's kick game.
Right?
Give my man's kick game.
Very nice.
Give my man's kick game. All right.
Follow the Garage Apartment on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Brand new tweet, photos, videos, hashtags. Let me shoot some real quick. Follow me on social media.
And subscribe to the Garage Apartment Radio on YouTube.